Hi guys, welcome back.
Welcome everybody, both old and new.
Yep, thank you for all the ones that have said they're going to give the little challenge a go.
Yeah.
None of ya. I'm going to be doing another one in a bit where I'm going to do a couple with, I'm going to do a bowl. Small bowls like these, this is a nice bit of ash actually. I'm going to do one with carbide, one with a traditional, so we'll see. You don't have to do the challenge. The idea of what... Right, let me say something first. When I've done that video, it was actually to say, could I actually earn the money back, or not me personally, but could you get your money back by making something out of a piece of scrap wood that pays you for the bag of firewood? Yes, you can, because if I've got 3 bits of wood. If I made them into 3 tea lights, you'd sell them for £5.50, 3 tea lights. Okay, so yes, you could get your money back. That was what it was going to be, the start of it. But then when I started, I thought actually this video could be very good to do a little not a versus or a comparison, but can I do every cut I do with the spindle gouge or a traditional tool? Could I do exactly the same cut and get the same finish using carbide? That's the challenge. Can you do it? We could all go, right, do something with a bowl gouge and then do something with carbide, sand it to death and say, yes, look, I achieved a fit. No, the idea of it is, can you do it exactly the same? Same amount. I used the same. I've still got the same bit of paper here. Look, with the 2 black marks. I used the same piece of paper for both. In fact, it was a bit of
unfair, isn't it?
Unfair on the carbide one, because I'd already sanded the traditional one with it. But we got exactly the same thing. That was the challenge. So could you do? Let's say, it doesn't have to be that, a tea light holder. Could you do a bowl? Could you turn a bowl? But everything you do with your bowl gouge or your spindle gouge, could you do with the carbide and get the same finish? Majority of you, yes, because you scrape with your traditional tools anyway, so it's no different. Right, anyway, today's video, what I'm going to do, a little bit of fun. I've got coconut.
I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
I've drained the milk out of it, or drunk that. It's only a small one, but I'm going to see about making a ring box. But it's not a ring box, obviously. I'm not going to make a ring box, but I'm going to make a little box with the coconut. Now, because you've got the bit here where the eyes are, and you drain your milk out from, I'm not keeping that top bit. I'm going to find, I've got some bits of burr, and I'm going to find a nice bit of burr that I can put in the top of this. But what I've got to do first is I've got to get this out. I'm not cutting it in half. I want to keep it the size up there. So I'm going to part it, and I'm going to have to hollow out the coconut. But I'm not wasting the coconut. I want to get it out, collect it in a tub, and eat it afterwards. So there you go.
I'm in it.
Right, now, fortunately, I have my Axminster SK114 with my shark jaws, and I think they're going to take this. Let's see. I want to be able to get a hold of it, because otherwise how am I going to hold a bloody coconut? You know, it's a bit... Right, come on. See, this is why I bought these chucks, because look at that. Look how much they open up. Look. Yeah. Okay, it's opened right up, so let's get it and get it sent. And I'm not past the warning dot. You got on these when you wind them. I can wind these straight out just to quick change my jaws, but you got a red dot comes up on the side here, and it hasn't come, so I know I'm not past the safety limit of the jaws anyway. Right now, obviously that's not centre, is it? I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a centre in here just to, oh, that was miles out, wasn't it? Just so I can line up roughly where the centre of that coconut would be. Now that top bit there I don't think is dead centre, but it might be, so maybe I should go how's that looking? I think come over a little bit there. Now that don't look centre, that looks off to me from where the bottom is, so I'm going to have to come back over to there. The eyes are not set, that top bit isn't centre. I'm looking for where the bottom is, and that's offside, but that looks more centre to me. Yeah, that's over, but this bit here, the actual coconut here, I think is looking more centred than what that is. I don't know, but then the lump's over there, so it's going to be an awkward one, this one, isn't it? I'm going to have to what do we do? Right, I'm going to go there. That looks, when I look at this here, fairly simple. We're going to go with that anyway. Right, so I'm going to tighten that up. Not over. Don't want to crack it. Right, that should hold that. That should hold that. And now I'm going to part. Oh, squeaky.
Ooh.
I'm going to part this top off. This is just how I'm doing it, guys. I know people have turned coconuts, but this is how I'm doing it. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark around the inside of this, because I will take it down more afterwards. Right, so if I part just that top bit off, I think, I don't know, but I think that might work. So let's do that bit, right?
Okay.
And then afterwards I've got a little tub here, and we're going to hollow it, a bit like doing a hollow form really. We're going to get the inside out of it. Because coconut, this is a small one, it's not going to be very thick. The walls of it are not going to be very thick, you know. I'm going to bring that in that way just so I can get my parting tool on here. I reckon it should be alright like that. Everything's going to miss. I'll put my face shield on because it could go bang, I don't know. Let's see.
End up with a face full of coconut.
Right, let's see what happens. Let's see if we can just part this off, yeah? I mean, it's by no means centre. I really don't know whether that's going to be. I don't want to do it and then I find I should have been over. Hang on. Let me just move it a little. Let me move it a little bit that way. Tighten. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? I think that looks a bit better. Go with that. We'll go with that. Let's see. Right, okay, stand out of the way and start her up. Right, I've got it going quite fast. We're going to keep it going quite fast. And I'm going to use my parting tools. I'm going to keep to the side here so I'm standing out of the way. Right, so that's pretty solid. That's quite thick on that bit where I am. So let's stop that. Let's stop that. Right, that's where we're at. Now what I've got to look at is what I'm going to have in here. So yeah, I can go. I want to be able to go down a bit for it. Okay, I want to take the edge down so it fit in. So I've got to start from that. So I've got to hollow that coconut out from that. That's going to be lovely, isn't it? Right, okay then, get the dust out of the way. Let's see what we can do. Okay. Alright, I'm going to sort of put my tool rest slightly at a squiff first. Now, I'm going to start off, I think I'm going to use, I'm slightly above centre there, but that'll be alright. I'm going to use the box hollower first. Okay, I'm going to slow it down a bit because I'm only turning coconut, I'm not turning wood or anything. I've got to try and catch this, so I'm going to probably be more turning one-handed, I don't know. Let's see where this is going to go. I'll come in here. Oh, I'm going to be lucky. I think I'm going to keep most of it inside. I'm missing it. I'm missing it. Alright, I think I'm going to probably miss most of it. It's quite soft actually. I don't want to get any of the inside bits of the actual coconut shell. Not yet. Right. I've cut quite a bit of it, so I'm going to just get some of that out. Yeah, it's going to be loose in there. This is like a... It's not going to be easy to get this stuff out of here. Look at that.
Nice.
One, I don't want this going all over my lathe and everywhere because it's going to be quite
wet. Isn't it, as well, yeah.
Do with like a little spoon or something, really.
Like a little...
Right, let's all sticks to my
Shall I see if I can get one of those dessert ones? You know, the long... I don't know if we've got a long...
Hang on. This is alright.
You've got that, yeah.
I'm going to get it off. Right, what I'll do, I'll bring you back when I've got this all out, because it's going to take me a little time to scoop this out. Right, okay guys, I've brought you back. Now, I've got pretty much most of it out of there. I had to take it off, and I had to get in there with my spindle gouge, and I'm pretty much, all of it's out. There's tiny little bits there. I'm not going to get everything. So, but there you go. And the coconut, actually, Lisa keeps eating it.
Yeah, I know, again. Totally tropical, man.
Right. Lisa's going to move that way. So yeah, I've got a little tub of coconut, so that's alright.
Put that in
And
the fridge.
yeah, my tools have got pretty messy, but I'm not worried about it because a quick white, it's quite nice because it makes them feel quite oily actually, because it's coconut oil, isn't it? Coconut's got natural oil to it. So there you go, nice clean tools. Right, now I've got a little bit left in there, so I'm going to get that out now to do a bit of light hollowing. Now what I'm going to do, yep, that's all. I'm going to use the live centre to bring that back up. Now what I was saying when I took it off, the bottom point is there, okay, but if I'd done that it wouldn't have been as rounded. I would have been taking the top off there, sorry, the concrete coconut. So I wanted that shape, like egg shape. Be nice for Easter, couldn't it? Didn't even think of that. There you go. Right, so I'm going to use my live centre.
It's a bounty Easter egg.
It's a bounty Easter egg, yeah. Use my live centre to get it back to where I had it. Okay. And so you can see it, I'm going to just do a little bit more hollowing. That's it, that should have it. Okay. And I'm not actually going to take anything off the inside of the coconut shell, as in the wood of it, if you like. Now it's about I've got a set of calipers here. Let's see how thick that is. Not that thick, I know. Keeps releasing. Right, okay. Now if I can get that out again, there. Right, it's actually that thick, the wall of the coconut. Okay, which is I know someone's going to say what it was. It's actually 5mm thick, so that's got a 5mm thick shell. So that's okay, that's enough. I can work with that. But I'm going to just clean it up. I'm not going to reduce it in any way. I've just got to get the rest of that bit of coconut out now. So a little bit of hollowing inside there, and I'm going to stick with, because the best tool to do it is going to be the box hollower. Yeah, I'm on centre, so that's going to be okay. Right, turn that on. While that just gets itself ready, I'm going to put my face shield on, just in case. You never know what might happen. And let's get this out. Right, yeah. Right, okay, I'm going to leave that at that. I'm going to... see, I don't want to actually, what I'm going to do for this, I'm going to use a square carbide. I'm well above, and I'm just going to come in like this, because I think if I come in this way, I'm pushing my cuts into the chuck. I'm not pulling across. I don't want to pull across on it, because that way, let's see. Yeah, that's getting there. That'll go down a little bit more. I think that'll go down a little bit more than that. I don't want that lip there as much as I've got. Right. We'll take it down a fraction more. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error. I'm not getting the exact finished part here. Right, nice small cuts. You don't want to knock, as you see, I'm not held perfect. It's not perfectly round and I'm not held perfect. So I've got to keep everything gentle. And that's why this being above centre and coming in like this is the gentlest cuts I can make. Right, and it's going to be just a little bit of trial and error on this. Right, I think that is going to be about right, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be coming in on this edge. Yeah, I'm going to be making like a little step on this edge for that to go into, you see. So and I'm going to do all that now before I move all this stuff off. So again, around. Now I'm going to be staying above centre, okay, because I don't want no risks of knocking anything off. I'm just going to come in here. Right, that's it. That's it, that's going to be alright like that. I think that's going to be the business there. Yeah, look at that, that fits lovely. That's going to be a lovely fit. Right, okay. So, it's going to just need a little bit of cleaning, that's all. So I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm going to get in there and just clean it out with a bit of rag and get that out, because it's quite wet and oily. Okay, so I'll bring you back when I've cleaned that out. Right, okay guys, I've brought you back. I've got it hollowed out now. It's not the prettiest inside there, you can't do a lot with that. It's getting pretty thin, and there's no coconut inside there, but what it is the actual inside of it isn't perfectly smooth, and I can't cut away until it all comes smooth because I haven't got the thickness. What it is there like ridges in there, but I've got everything out. I've put a bit of oil, so it's not going to be over great inside, but it doesn't matter. I might actually colour the inside of it just to take away where the light bits are afterwards, but at the moment it's perfect as it is. Now this, I'm not going to push this on. I have checked it and it fits on, and when I give it a push it actually clicks into place and holds. It's very hard to get off, so I'm not going to push it right on at this moment. What I want to do now is just clean up the outside of it. I just basically now want to turn the outside. Yeah, the inside there's you'd think it was coconut. It's not coconut on there still. What that is, I've got light patches in there like this, and it's where on the inside it's slightly rigid. Yeah. Like not rigid, it's very rigid. It's slightly ridged, I should say, yeah. Which match up with these on the outside. See, I've got, look, yeah. There's a slight ridge. Well, that's what's on like the inside, and I've turned it, I've taken those bits off. So that's all that is. But I think I'm going to put, it's nice and smooth, I'm going to put a colour in there just to colour them up, and that way it won't be seen. But it's not going to be seen much anyway. Thinking of having it for little sweets or something inside. Ooh. So right, I'm gonna take this jaws off, because now the other thing is how I'm going to hold it, because it's not thick by any way of the imagination, or any stretch of your imagination, whatever you want to say. Right, I think this chuck, I want dovetail. The reason being, if I went for these jaws, I'm only going to hold on the actual rim there, and it's very thin, and I think I'm going to end up breaking it. So I'm going for the dovetail in the hope, let's see if they're going to fit. Yes, they are. Right, so that's going to fit over like so, and if I open this up, oh, it's starting to tighten. It's not the perfect of dovetail, but a little bit more, tiny bit. That's it, it's tight. Now, I'm going to trust it. Now, what happens quite often is when you start up, your jaws will expand a little bit and it could crack. I'm hoping it's not going to crack. A way I'm going to try and avoid that with this, I know it can't come off because I've got the dovetail, so I'm not worried about that. It might come a bit, it might rattle loose, I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to be very careful with our cuts and clean this up. I've got to take that knobble bit off the bottom there and hope it don't go to a hole. So I'm going to put this in. Now the way I'm going to avoid it doing that is I'm going to turn it speed right down low. Now speed, I don't normally do that, as you'd know, but by doing that, the initial inertia of the chuck moving, and the jaws always move a fraction, you can't avoid it, centrifugal forces, but that will stop it from cracking because I'm doing it slowly, increasing the speed, so everything's adjusting to what's moving. Right, that's going to be fine. I'm going to get my face shield on, and I'm going to take all this fluff off the outside. Right, so I'm only at 11 something. I'm going to get the speed up. If it comes off, oh well, it comes off. What I might actually do, I've got this centre here which has a cone, yeah? Now I'm not actually going to touch this on the piece at all. It's going to be nowhere actually touching it. I'm going to wind this out. I'm going to have to put my handle the other side so I can get my power centre in. Now that is just basically, look, it's not touching, it's brushing by the fibres. That will just be that if it did move, it won't come off, okay? Yeah. That will catch it, and I'm just going for a bit of security there. Right, I'm going back to basically the 9mm box follower. Okay, I'm at 1600, I'm going up, I'm going to go up to about 1800. Right, okay, and I'm just going to come around and just take some of this off. But I think if I can get it down to a certain amount and then leave the brown and sand it and see how it finishes. Yeah. Right, come down to that. Now for this, because of getting into that chuck, it's not going to be easy to push that tool in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the detail chisel. So I can ride the bevel of that and get right in there. Sort of. Right, I'm coming out like this. Now you can see we're getting nice shavings because I'm cutting. I'm dropping my handle down. I'm getting a lovely shear cut on that. You go back and forward. As long as I hold that position. I've got to lose a little bit of that front anyway. And it's going to give me a beautiful finish cut. Look at that. That gives me a beautiful finished cut, that does. See the way this works, this detail? We've got the bevel in control. And we can come round and get this, look at it. Right, we're going to have a go here as well. Must keep our bevel in control for that. Blend the two together. It's giving a real beautiful cut, this. Right, for the moment I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to sand that a little bit. That's exactly what I've got. Where that dips in slightly there. Just have a look at that with our first sand. Yeah, we're going to end up, we can't get rid of that because it dips in. And oh no, look, I haven't got room, look. We've gone through it there. Just gone through there, see? I was trying to get rid of that. Oh, that's a shame actually, because that's looking quite nice. And I'm quite liking this little bit.
Can you put a bit of glue
so
with
I think I'm gonna, no, I think I might put a little bit of resin in there.
Resin, yeah.
So I'm gonna get that done. I'm gonna get that done. And then I'll bring you back. Oh, I was gonna sneeze in. Sorry, okay guys, welcome back. Right. I've had a little change of plan now. I've given that a little bit of a sand in, and I've put a bit of a finish on it. Okay, bit of a Canuba wax, oil and Canuba wax I'll put on there. Now I haven't glued resin that, and I've decided I'm not going to. I didn't really want to use resin on it. What I've decided, I've got, bear with me, I don't know if this is going to work, I'm working off the cuff, and this might make this a bit of a long video, but what I'll try and do, because so many do these sort of videos and it's like tap 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 tap, and then put it in resin, do this, fast forward, and there you go, there's a nice something at the end. I want you to see the process, so I'm not going to do all this fast forward stuff. I might have to cut some little sections down a little bit, make them a bit shorter so the video's not too long. Right, idea I've come up with. I've got this piece of Mallee Burr. Now I bought this at Newark, yeah. Not this Newark the year before, okay, and I've never used it, been waiting for something to use it for, and I've decided I'm going to use it for this. Now my plan is, what I'm thinking is, because I've got this coconut, I'm going to actually sand the bottom off. I want to do it so that it's going to fit onto here, but it's going to fit on at a slight angle. It's not going to be dead straight, it's just going to be off just a little, about that much. Okay, so I'm going to turn this and put a tenon on the bottom of it, so this will sit over and glue onto. It's got to be tilted, not too much. I'm going to have to then remount this once this is glued on and actually turn the bottom. Whatever comes through on the bottom when I glue it on, I'm going to have to be able to turn that smooth, so I can't kick that at too much of an angle. It's just something I'm playing with. It might not work, but it might. I don't know. And the reason being, I want this to look like a bit like, this is like an island. You've got a bit of imagination. This is an island, and this is a coconut, and the coconut is from the island. So once I've got the 10, I'll be able to move it to where I want. I'm thinking sort of about there ish, something like that. I don't know, but it's going to be set down. It's not going to sit just on top like that. I will be turning a bit of that. So that's what I've got planned at the moment. Now for the top of this, as I said, this is going to fit on really nice, and it snaps on, and it's a perfect fit. Now I was going to use a bit of burr, and I've got this piece of burr, but I think it's going to be too light,
Too pale, yeah.
so that's out the window. I'm not using that
Too
one.
pale.
Right, and I have got another choice. I've got a lovely piece of laburnum here, which has got a very nice dark bit at the top, and I thought I could turn that and make that to be the top. Could work, but I do also have, and I found this, and now I had this ages, and I had some resin left over, and what I did was I mixed some coffee in with it and some wood shavings, and I just dropped it in the bottom of a little cup, plastic cup, and I ended up with this bit, and I was going to make like a little pendant or something, but it actually,
The right kind of
it's
brown.
actually the perfect fit, and it looks like the right colour brown. So I'm thinking I might actually use this and just dome the top. All I want to do is keep the coconut shape, so I'm just going to dome the top. So I'm actually thinking that, because that is actually a perfect, it's just like I had it in the bottom, and it just so happens to be a perfect fit.
I think that.
So I'm thinking I might use that, and all I'm going to do is I'll have to mount that in a set of my jaws, and I'm just literally going to dome the top, so it sits in that and sits on that, and brings back basically the dome of the slightly dome of the coconut is what I'm thinking of doing. So that's what I've come up with. That's what I'm going to do. See if it works. I don't know. Okay, this is all off the cuff, guys. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sort out the bottom of this. Okay, I'm getting it very dusty, but don't worry, it will all dust off when I'm finished. I've got to work out what the angle's going to be. I've got to take that hole away, so I want to come in sort of there basically, and I'm just going to do that on my sanding pad. So I'm going to take this off, my sanding disc I should say. Let me get rid of that. I'm going to push that right in close like so. Get rid of this one and see if it works. It could work, it might not, I don't know, but it's, you know, you're seeing this project from what it was going to, but I did now,
from a fresh
if
coconut.
I'd got a bigger coconut, the chances are it would have been thicker, okay, and I could have, let me get my sand, I'll put a new pad on this. Right, so let's put this in here.
Could have had more room to play around with it a little bit more in it by cutting more into it.
There we go. Now, had it been a bigger coconut, yeah, it would have been thicker, and I could have really sort of cut into it. But these are the little mini coconuts, really, and I really like that actually. Yeah. So you can't do a lot with it. You haven't got the thickness, and where that dented in there, and I've tried to get rid of it, I ended up going through that. So there you go. That's just one of those things. Now my plan is I'm just going to literally get this here like this, and then I'm just going to have to hold that on like so, thinking that when that turns, that will give me enough room to get in there and get the bottom off. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to sand like that until it goes flat, and that's it. Okay, so I'm going to have to sort of hold that like that. I'm going to bring my dust extractor down to there because it's going to be dusty. Turn my dust extractor on. My speed's down at the moment. Let's see if it works. This might not work, and that'll be the end of this bit. A little bit more speed than that. tiny bit more. Bugger. I didn't want to bring it off until it was done. Right, okay. That should just give me that slight kick. It's not going to be, actually I want a little bit more than that. I want a little bit more kick than that. I just hold this upside down and have a look. Yeah, that's how it's going to be, like that. It's just going to sit at that slight angle. And I should, when I glued that and that's turning, I should be able to get in there and be able to clean the bottom up without hitting the side. Right, yeah, I'm going with it. Right. And hopefully blending it in and not going through the bottom on it, which is going to be the thing I mustn't do. So I'll get this sorted out and I'll bring you back. Right, okay guys, you're back. I've put my 2 step centers on, okay. I was going to use a big step center for this, but it won't work. I'm going to use this very hard piece of wood. Now, what I'm planning on, I've got to do, I need to put a tenon on here so I can turn it round and hold it in my chuck. So I can face this off, and then once I've done this and I've put that top bit on, I'm not going to be able to come back to face this off, and I need to glue that top bit, this bit on
the coconut.
So I need to glue this on here once I've got it, so I won't be able to turn it and re-hold it to take the bottom off. So I'm going to finish the bottom and I'm going to put a recess in there which will stay afterwards as the finished piece. Okay, we'll have a recess in the bottom. It's going to be sitting like this. Now this is a piece I'm keeping for me. Okay, so it's and as I said, I'm just doing, you can see the process I'm going and how I'll overcome things that happen. Okay, oh, I've got itch on my leg. Right, okay, so first off we've got to roughly work out, I think the centre's going to be roughly about there. Let's have a look and see how this sets up. That means I'm going to be on a slope with that. Hang on, no, not quite. Right, I think I'm going to have a little change of plan. I can't use a step centre this side, I'm going to have to use a point.
Okay.
Because the step centre's not going to get on a flat enough piece. So I think there. And now, because I don't want to waste any of this that I don't have to waste. Now I'm looking down there and I can see that's got to come that way. Right. Okay, that shouldn't be too bad. Let me see how this is here. Yeah, okay. Right, that shouldn't be too bad. Now I'm going to see if I can actually tighten this into it. It doesn't matter about the hole because I'm going to be taking that away. That's going to be the top of the tenon. That's where it's going to be. I'm going to get a nice bit of tightness on that so I know it can't come out, and then all I'm going to do is clean this bit up and get an actual tenon so I can turn it around and hold it. Then I can work on this side with no problem. This is just a tenon to be able to hold it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. And like I said, I'm going to be using for this, so far I've only used carbide. I'm going to be using a mixture of tools on this. So for this actual process, make sure it's nice and tight. I'm probably going to use a spindle gouge, okay, for me to be able to get in here and do what I need to do. Right, so I've got a nice 1/2 inch spindle gouge. So let's start her up. Should all stay in place. Let's get a bit more speed. Right, okay, let's see what we can do. Right, now looking at that, I should have enough to get hold of. Put that in a bit. I've got to decide what jaws I'm going to hold that on. Yeah, right, okay, that's enough. That's enough. I'll have a set to hold it on anyway. I've got enough of a tenon there. That's it. Right, I'll get this held and I'll bring it back. Right, okay guys, let me take my face shield off just for a second so I can talk to you. Right, I've done that tenon. I'm just going to face this off now. Now I want to make it clear, I'm not making this round. I want to keep this sort of shape because to me that's an island shape. Okay, I'll be making some cuts down, but what stays. That's just going to look like what it looks like. Right, I've put my gripper jaws on. Basically because I can leave that knob all and everything and it all fits there nice and that gets a good hold. I want a good hold because this wood is really hard. Right, bosh, there, done. We've got it. Okay, now because it's so hard as it is, I'm probably going to start off by using the carbide on it because it's got to be right for it, isn't it? So I'm probably going to start off. I'm going to put my spindle gouge. Now I could use the spindle gouge, come in, make a few cuts. I haven't got to take a lot off of it, but I think I'm going to go for carbide on this. I think it's got to be a lot easier, a lot calmer, a lot kinder to the tool, in all honesty. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the little 6mm, and I'm going to come across with that. I think that's what I am thinking of. Now what I want to do, here it is, because I'm working quite close up, I want to drop that bar in a bit more if I can. Let me see. Yeah, that's got in a bit more. Not a lot more, but a bit more. I've got another one, a shorter one, but it doesn't matter. This will do. We can work with what we've got. So I'm going to take the elbow stabber out because that would be lethal if that went in my elbow. Especially that little point like that. Right, okay. So all I'm going to do is face this off, put the marks on for a tenon, for a recess, and then I can turn around. I'm going to put it on another set of jaws and hold it like that. So basically, I think carbide's going to be a lot better for cutting this. We'll start with a 6mm, might go up to a bigger cutter. We'll see. Right, let's start up. Down just a fraction. There we go. Now what I also want to do is I want to bring it in slightly so that it's going to sit on its outer rim when it's sat down. Either that or I'll put a rim in the centre like that and it sits on that. That might, oh, I've got a bit of dust flying around in my face shield, sorry. Right, see, this is all a thinking process as I'm going along here. I think I'm going to come in here like this.
going to leave that at that. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to make my little recess. It's not going to be a little recess, it's quite a large recess really. Right, I think that's going to be big enough for my recess. I'm going to use it's got an R2 cutter on this. Going to be okay. That bit there. Right, I will undercut that slightly. I'll just undercut that a little bit. Put my ducts out. Right, okay. What I've got. Right, I think that's going to be alright. I'm going to leave that little foot there for the moment. I don't say I'm going to keep that, okay? But if I leave it there at the moment, it gives me a choice to see how it's going to sit. Because when I take the top round, I don't know what I'm going to lose of this outside, okay? So I'm going to leave that like that. I'm not going to sand it because I've got to put a tenon on here to take the other bit. Before I glue it on, I will turn it round, put it in, finish this off, and then do all that. So bring it back in a minute.
Right, okay guys, so I've put my shock jaws on, my Nova chuck, and I'm just going to mount the recess, mount this on the recess. Now, as I said, I can come back. Now when I've looked at that on the base, it is nice, it gives that little float, so that's quite nice actually. Now, I'll probably take it down a bit, maybe do something with it, put some rings in there or something, I don't know yet. At the moment I've got to have a good strong hold, which I've got there, because as I said, that's it, tight and a nip, that's all, tight and a nip, done. That's holding nice, because I've got to get this done, and this wood is so hard. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a few cuts round, but if some of this, if I don't want to make it round, see, and if bits of this are staying, that's good. That's going to add to the look, I think, of what I want. Okay. Yeah. First things I've got to do is I've got to get this tenon bit sorted to go on this, for this to go on. Okay, the bottom of the coconut. So I'm going to have a look. I've got this set slightly over at the moment. I'm not far out from what I've got on that. And just check, because this could even have gone slightly oval. Right, we're about right at that, so I'm going to bring that down a little bit and we'll test this first, and if that's okay we're going to go with it, because it can go in quite deep, because like I said, stupidly, I'm going to actually mount it back and I'm going to turn inside the pot to turn the inside of that away and blend it all in. A bloody idiot decides to do that. Right, okay, let's do this. So first of all, I've got to clean the top of it up first. So I'm going to stick with this little 6mm hollower at the moment. Oh, buff simple good. It is so hard, this wood, it's really, really hard. Right, so all I'm going to do is clean that up. Just so it's clean. Now I'm going to bring it down to size, roughly.
So I'm going to come in with a square. I don't mind having this little trough bit because I'm actually going to slope. I'm going to come in and out on that because I want this pot to sit in. I didn't know I want to do that until I've got to this point, but now I know I want to do that. Right, so that's near enough there. Right, I've got to take it a tiny bit more. There's a tiny bit more there. Right, I've got an idea of something I want to do, so I'm going to do some other work first. I'm getting to the point now where I cannot go too big with it. Right, it's because it's got a very slight oval to it, that's the trouble. Ugh. We've got to get it dead right, we've got to get it bang on. There's really not a lot of difference between what I had in the first place to what I'm going to have. Right, there we go. That's just, no, it's not quite on. Oh, that's it. That's it. It was just that edge had to go. Right, that's it. Now what I want to see is whether, when that's on there, I need to see whether I'm going to be able to clean this bottom up without that hitting. Yes, I am. Yes, I will be able to. Right, because I want to be able to clean that up inside there once I've glued this on. You see? So that's going to be good. Now what I want to do, I'm going to take a pencil mark. Like I say, I know a lot of you might not have done it like this, but this is what I want to do. Okay? I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to put a line around here, sort of there. Right, okay. Come off, that's it. Right, I want to put a little channel in there so this goes in that little bit deeper. Okay, I want it to be set in slightly. That's what my plan is. It's been my plan to do that. Okay. So I want to just go in there a little bit. Right, now. Okay. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first start of it with the parting tool. Do a bit of the parting tool, lift it down, and a little bit more with the detail chisel. That's it, it's just to take that little chamfer in, not to widen it up any. Right, okay. Let's see what that does. Let's see what that does. Oh, that's it, right. Yep, let's close that gap up now. There we go, that's what I want. So it looks like it's sat slightly inside it, you know, nestling in. And then this yeah, I can take some of that down, so I ain't got too much work to do in there. And then that's going to glue. I'm going to epoxy resin that in there. Right, that does hold on, but it's going to pop off like that. That's going to be good. That's going to be good. Right, I'm going to take this down a little bit because I don't need all that, and I might as well get rid of as much as I can at this point.
Yeah.
And then what I've got to do is do something about this and cleaning it slightly and coming round but keeping that shape, but revealing some of the wood. I don't want it to be round. I don't want to go round with it. Right, that should follow the shape on the inside, see? A nice little finished cut. That's it, right, okay. Now, I want to do this bit on here, and I don't really know what I'm going to do with it, because it's very hard. Very hard wood. I think I'm actually going to I've got to. Right, yeah, so we've got a fairly clean cut. It's going to need cleaning up a bit. It doesn't come as low this side. So, right, okay. Got a tiny little bit of breakout on that. I might have to slope that down a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around here. Right, and I'll put that straight, bring that round. That's going to be an easier way to go. I get the handle out my way. Where am I? I'm slightly high. Right, I think I'm going to try and come around. I think I'm going to have to get that lower. Actually, I want to try and get this as a bit of a finished cut around here to clean that up. I'm not worried about leaving this stuff. I think that's going to look quite nice actually, yeah, when it's all finished off. What I need to do is get a cut here. Right, that should be okay now. Right, let's get rid of that. Sand this on this outside. Okay. Do a bit of the power sand on this one. Mainly because I don't want my hands on that edge. I'll bring it back when I finish sanding.
Right, okay guys, I've brought you back. Now, as you'll notice, I'm wearing different clothes. It's a different day. Okay, this is the next day. Now, I couldn't get you back. I've done the sanding, and I said I'll bring you back. Didn't bring you back. I had delivery come. Lisa had to go do some stuff, so we didn't get filming again until today. Now, I've glued this on now, but what I've done first, I gave it a sand, okay, put a little bit of finish on it, just some sanding sealer and some shellac, and on the underside, I did, like I said, I just finished that off, okay, with a bit of sand. I put some rings in the bottom, okay, for that recess, and left it like that, and that was it. So I'm really pleased with that. It come out really nice. And then I've glued this in with the epoxy, like I said I was going to do. And if you see, that's what I wanted, that slight angle, okay, and I wanted it to look like it's set in. It's not got the bottom, you know, it's actually sitting into it. Just what I want to do, okay. Now, I said I'd probably put it back on and return it, but I'm not going to have to, and I'm glad in a way, because this is so thin down here, I don't think I could really take any cuts. But what I did, the epoxy resin has actually sealed perfectly on the bottom and give it a lovely finish. And what I did, once that had dried this morning, first off, I just made up some epoxy resin, had nitrate gloves on, just dipped it with my finger and wiped it all around the inside. It's self-leveling, so it seals, and that's actually given it a waterproof finish on the inside. And that's the inside, so it's all right on the inside. I'm quite happy with that. You're not going to be seeing it anyway, okay. So that's what I've come up with. This is my coconut island, if you like, okay. This is the island. So we've got the sand, we've got the colour bits, which would be whatever you want to be, trees or whatever, and we've got our coconut coming out of it. Yes, a very big coconut for the size of the island, but that's my interpretation. So that's done. Right, what I've got to do now, let me move these bits off, move that off over there so they don't get damaged. Now I know this fits perfectly on that, so now I'm going to turn the resin top. So that's what I brought you back for. That's the last bit to do now. So that's going to fit onto that. This is going to go in here, and as I said, this is actually a perfect fit. Now what I want to do, it's just got a very tiny bit raised here, okay, where it come out. I'm going to clean this bottom up, and I want to slightly curve the bottom in on the inside, but I can't reduce the diameter because it's a perfect fit. So that's what I've got to do. It's just got to sit down flush inside there. And then what I'll be doing, once I've cleaned the bottom, I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to just dome the top. That's all I'm going to do. It's just going to be a slight doming, okay. So that's what we've got to do next. Right, okay, like I said, this isn't a tutorial video, this is just a watch me doing. Now a lot of the bits, because I uploaded most of it yesterday, so this is an easy bit to put on, and some of them I've shortened them down, so you're not going to see the whole process of me shaping the front. You see me start, and then there you go, it's done. You know what I'm doing, it's on loads of the videos. You don't need to see me sanding, you don't need to see me mixing up glue. It's all done, okay. You're just seeing the process I went through just to make something, and that's it. Right, now I think I'm going to be, because this is bit of resin, I'm going to actually see it. I think I can hold this in my soft jaws. Okay, what am I looking for?
The chuck key.
The chuck key for this chuck that happened to me. Chuck, something, see. Right, now if I get that in there, this is where it's going to be a bit dodgy, because it's going to try and push it forward, see, because this, obviously this is slightly tapered.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the soft jaw's trying to push it out. I might have to wait and just hold that in that for the bottom bit and do the doming. I think I'm going to have to use a set of metal jaws to do this front bit, because like I say, the taper on the front, so that's something to be a little bit aware of. Okay, now it's not too big. Let me just see what jaws I'm going to fit. Yeah, I think I'm going to put that in my standard jaws here. I think they're going to be able to go into that. I don't know, it's the awkward part of it really, is how I'm going to hold this, because of its taper, but it won't matter here because I'm going to right, can I hold it there? Will that be level? It will be. I don't want to hold it right here because I'm going to mark this and then I won't get rid of it because I can't take that away. Right, let me. Okay. Yep. I've got that. All I've got to do is take a little clean up on that front edge. I think that's going to be okay. Yeah. I'm going to hold that. I'm confident it'll stay there. And if it, well, it ain't going to do much, is it, if it comes off? What's it going to do? A fat ass bit like that. Right, I'm going to stay and use the 6mm hollower, okay? Because I don't want any length, I'm just using the mini hollower for this. So I'm on centre there. Right, we start out and make sure it just stays in there first. Yes, it does. Right, I'm going to turn my speed up a little bit. Right, I'm at 2,500 RPM. Because this is resin, I want the speed. Now, like I said, I'm just cleaning this up at the edge. I can't lose any of the diameter. Now I need the flat to be here, which goes into that sits on that bit there. So I need to keep this flat on that edge there for that, okay? So I'm actually going to just, yeah, I'm happy with that, right, and I think that amount of it. Well, I want to hollow it out because we're going to have a look and make sure I've got that outside bit right. Yep, that's looking good. Oh yeah, that's perfect in there. Right, I can leave it from that where I've done that flat. That's actually perfect. Now I'm just going to hollow it up a little bit more. Mainly, I want to lighten it. Otherwise, it's going to be quite heavy on the top there. So that's the reason I'm doing it. So let's have another go. A couple of little passes, that's all. Let's see if we can get a... The trouble, you can't see it.
Doesn't go anywhere, does it?
Right, one more pass, I think. That's good, that's about to stop. That's it, that's nice and smooth. That's alright, that. So I'm just going to do a very quick sand on this. With these sanding pads. Because it's only a small bit, but it is resin, so I'm going to bring that up. Right, this I'm just going to very gently, that's it, I just want to key that surface, that's got to be glued.
the wax on this. Obviously I don't need no sanding sealer. That's giving me a nice finish on it. But I don't want to get it on the edge, because that's got to glue on later. There we go, I think that should look alright. That looks. Yeah, it's got some bits of wood in it, so that matches up perfectly with the coconut. So that was good, wasn't it? Right, and take my thing off just for a second. Right, that's that done. Yeah, that looks nice, that. It's all nice and smooth in there. Chucky. There we go, we managed to hold that nicely. Right, that edge I've left rough like that because that's going to be epoxied, that edge, but that's nice and smooth in there. Okay, yeah, pleased with that. Right, okay, pop that there, take this chuck off, put the other chuck on. We'll go for the soft jaws one now, I think, which has got a dovetail to it, which I've already put in. Now if I hadn't had this I would have just done one of my wooden chucks, but I've got the soft jaws so I'm using them. Right, okay, different chuck key. Right, that's there. Let me just have a look at that. Can't really do much about it because I can't hold that down low enough to get onto that. Right, okay, that's going to be fine. I'm going to go with that so I can tighten it up nicely like that. I've got perfect circle there and it's dovetailed so it shouldn't come out. It should stay there. Shouldn't come out, he says. It shouldn't.
Hopefully not.
Shouldn't he? Right, okay, I'm going to go with the same. I'm going to stick with a 6mm hollow because it's working brilliant.
It's doing the job.
And this is just, as I said, the mini hollower. That one. So let's have a go. Blow. Right, let's take this top off. Now of course it doesn't matter with resin which way I go because it hasn't got a grain. And it doesn't matter if I hit the chuck because they're nylon jaws. You see? So I was able to come in and actually go right onto that. Well, I think that's okay. Just going to come around this way a little bit. Just get that finish on that top. There we go. Keep it nice and smooth. I'm going to take one more cut. Come on. Right, I can feel where there must be wood there. Where it's softer. Right there it was, but I've got rid of it. Well, not got rid of it, I've gone through it. That there, I can just see. I think that's going to be alright.
think that's going to be alright. Right, I'm going to sand that. And that's all I'm going for is that slight dome of the top. That should continue that dome over. Right, so again, same thing, just go through these grits. I've got something to do it with. Right, hang on. Right, shut up you for a minute, because you're putting me off. Right, okay. Because I'm going to have that slight edge there, I want to bring it out.
Oh my god.
I want to bring it out a little bit, see, and just hold it there for when I'm sanding. When I'm sanding, without throwing it on the floor. So, I've got a dome in the back. I've got to be careful here. But whether I want to see if I can put something in there, and not that. That's not big enough. I want to pack it out, if you like. Is what I'm trying to do. So I think if I put that in there and that on there, and then that on there, no, I can't. That on there, that on there. Come on, what are you doing? Oh no, it's still in the same place, so it's not big enough. I need something a little bit thicker.
Something, yeah, deeper in it too.
Leave that there. I just need something a little bit thicker just to pull it out a little bit. I must have something here. It's alright, give me a minute, I'll get there. I will get there. It might even mean I have to turn something, but I'm not sure. No, that's not going to be, that's too big. That's bigger than that, isn't it? Yeah. Right, okay, I'm going to find something, guys, and I'll bring you back. Right, okay, guys, I brought you back. As you can see, I've changed my jaws. I'm using one of my wooden chucks, and what I did was I just made a shallow recess there, so I can hold it in the wooden jaws, and that way, there, I've got it there. It's only for sanding, so I'm not turning on it, so I just need to hold it by that little bit, and that's it. There you go. So that's the beauty of having the wooden jaws. I didn't want to adapt these. What I could have done if I had been stuck is I could have just turned this bit away on here and made it shallower and then held them, but I didn't want to do that because I've got these set for how I want them. So, and I have got another set of those as well, so I could have done that, but we're not. We're doing this. Right, okay, let's start up the dust extractor. Start up again. Everything's running nice and through. So right, I'm going to go hit this grip. And now I can just come to that edge, see? That's all I wanted to do, was be able to get to this edge. Beauty of having wooden jaws. Get yourself some wooden jaws to make up. It's amazing how versatile they are. Going through these grits. Nice. Make sure I keep that just round this there like so. Nice and smooth. A couple of grips up. Okay, so do that one, that one. Right, okay. I'm letting you see this whole sanding process. I could have cut it out, but never mind. Stroking that on that edge there. I think that's a bit of wood in the centre you're seeing. Not hole enough. Right, final grit, and this is 3000 grit, this one. Turn that off, tighten that down. Right, that is that, and now for the finish I'm going to put some of my shellac on, and that'll give me a nice hard wearing finish on it, and it'll give it a shine. I want it to have a shine on this bit. Pop. Build a couple of coats up.
It's like a chocolate button.
Yep. Have a look at that and see what it's like. Oh, there you go.
Nice.
I think that looks.
That's going to look really
That looks
nice,
very
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'll take my face shield off. We're done with that.
Are you zoomed out on that, are you?
I'm zoomed in on it at the
Oh
moment.
right, you can zoom out on it now. We're done with that bit. Right, okay. Just got the dust around the edge, clean that off. But it's all done round to where that's gonna glue in, because that comes up on that side. So I'll show you that in a second. Anyway, let me get the chuck taken off and put back where he lives. Wooden chucks work brilliant. And back that goes up there. Right, okay, so what I've got, let's have a look at this. Now I'm not going to glue, I'm going to glue this in afterwards, and then I'll bring it back once it's glued in. But I'll just show you exactly what we're going to have. That's going to be the top. That fits in there like so. Okay, and then that's going to fit on there, and that's going to close down, and that's, hang on, I'm going to bring it up, I've got to glue it, so I've only pushed it to there. That's what it's going to look like. Okay, and I think that matched up with that perfectly.
It does look really good.
So there we go.
Perfect.
Right, I'll get that glued up, guys, and I'll bring you back. Right, welcome back, guys.
Welcome back, everybody.
Got it all glued up, and I said I'd bring you back just to show you the finished item. So here is my Coconut Island. There we go. I was really pleased with that lid.
Yeah.
It turned out, it matches absolutely perfect. The colours of that lid match the colours of the coconut. Absolutely perfect. You'd actually think that was the coconut. It really turned out. That's such a stroke of luck. I remembered I made that bit. I've done a Burr pot with a lid on it, and it had a hole in the bottom, and I actually made some resin up and filled it, and I actually made it with coffee and wood shavings and stuff to make it look like a Burr. And I had that little bit left over that was in the bottom of the cup, and I just popped it out and put it in my box there and thought I might make a top or a pendant or something one time, and it was made for this. So there you go. This is my, what I say, my Coconut Island. Okay, and it's what it's all about is the bounty on the Coconut Island, because when we have a look inside, oh look at that, oh look at that, we've only got a bounty.
My treat.
Yeah, they won't stay in there for long.
No.
So there you go, guys. And actually that lid, you probably can't see there, that's how thin it turned. Yeah, actually I turned that quite thin really. So there you go. So that's what I wanted to do, guys. Okay, that was it. Okay, and I just wanted it to sit in this like that. As I said, it's got finished on the bottom that way. Didn't want anything over the Burr. It's not to be looked at underneath anyway, but it just gave it something to be underneath there, so it showed I paid attention to the underneath. That's all it is. It just shows you paid attention to it. I'm not going to try and hide the way I held it. If anyone knows woodturning, they know you got to hold a piece of wood. It doesn't stay there by magic. And that was it, but I don't need to do much. The Burr speaks for itself. The coconut speaks for itself. I love the light bits of wood that stayed on it. I love that. And then, as I said, that top actually matched in perfectly, you know. And I had these ring things, so I've got another couple of these actually. So I might have to do. Look at this. I've got another gold one. That's a bit more gold than that one. And I've got a silver one still. So might be making something up with those as well. But there we go, guys. So that was it. I thought I'd bring you back, and yeah, there you go. That was my bounty on Coconut Island.
That's it.
There you go. So I've never turned a coconut before. It's awkward with coconuts really, because there's not enough thickness. Even if you get the big ones, there's not enough thickness to really put a foot on them or put a flat bottom. And I didn't want it to be moving about, so the only thing you can really do is sit it in something, and that's why I thought with that I had to put a base on it to make it stand up. I've never turned coconut before, but I'll tell you what, it's absolutely beautiful. The grain, it's not, no, it hasn't really got any grain to it, but
the pattern.
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. So yeah, it turned out nice. So there you go, guys. That's I've got to do a picture now for a thumbnail. So Lisa's going to sort that out, and I will catch you on the next one. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, it's not a tutorial, it's just something I made. I know a lot of you will probably say I would have done something different, but it's not yours, it's mine, and I done what I wanted. If you do one, you do what you want. Put pictures up, let's see them. Right, toodle pip, guys.
And if you like what you've seen, please subscribe, like and share.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.